What's up, spooky folks? Welcome back to Man of Horror. I'm your host, Troy Ryan, and this is my horror pod where I talk all things scary. On today's show, we're heading into doll territory. I saw the film Megan last week, and I loved it. It was so fun. It had so many classic horror elements with a lot of elevated horror elements mixed in, and it worked. It worked a lot better than I thought it would. So, with that being said, that film inspired today's list as well, which is going to be my top 5 horror movie dolls. So it's going to be a good time. I'll start with the list as usual and then stick around for my review of the movie Megan. Let's check it out.
They're here.
All right, so in 5th place from the Conjuring universe, the unbelievably fucking creepy Annabelle. I remember when I first saw her, I got chills. Like, I think the thing about Annabelle that adds to the fear factor is the fact that she doesn't talk. A lot of like horror movie dolls, they talk. And that's kind of what gets you. It's like this doll that can talk on its own and say fucked up shit outside of what it was automated for, or whatever the case. But she just kind of sits there with that fucking eerie ass smile, and it's so effective every time. And that's like whether from far away or close up, like whatever the angle, the doll just looks fucking creepy. And then it's like the doll that they chose to represent the quote unquote real life doll is 10 times more creepier. Like if you've seen the actual Annabelle doll, nowhere near. Like, yeah, it was a perfect doll. And honestly, I think just while most of the Annabelle films are I think Annabelle shines the most. There's Annabelle Creation, and then was it the first Conjuring when we got introduced her? Yeah. In those films, she shines the most. But I just think overall the doll herself will just continue to bring people in. So in 4th place from the Saw franchise, the little Saw doll. When that little fucker came out, like, oh my god, on the little tricycle and with the little suit, like I was so done. It's amazing how like the doll isn't anything other than a symbol for the real killer, and yet is seen just as much as the killer. Like it was just a really effectively smart thing that they added to that franchise that I think might be my one of my favorite parts. Like again, like I said, when I first saw it, I was just like, oh, this is kind of creepy, like the first one came out maybe like 07, 08 or something like that. So I recall being like, oh, ew. Um, but like now I see it and I'm just like, hell yeah. And I was so angry when they changed the fucking doll for that Chris Rock Saw movie, which was a travesty of a film. I won't say that. Maybe I need to rewatch. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, it's laughable. Like, when you think about like the doll standing up on his like little legs and being on the trike and the face and everything, but that grin, no matter what, is always eerie. And it when all the elements come together effectively, depending on the scene, it's anything but funny. In 3rd place, new favorite, my girl Megan. Look, I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. I will probably say it one more time. But I had so much fun with this movie. Like, it was definitely a talk to your screen kind of film. I was watching it with a few of my friends, and we couldn't shut the fuck up. In a good way, I won't say too much because again, I'm reviewing the film, but it was really fun. Um, the abilities that she had, the way that she spoke, her intelligence, she was constantly like learning, much like AI does. And she eventually goes Terminator mode, Skynet, like full ass, fuck you humans, or at least, yeah, pretty much. She didn't try to like dominate the world, but mentally it was very fuck you humans, and I can imagine her getting to that point. Um, but I have to say, there's my favorite scene is when one of the main characters just kind of lets her know, you killed a human, and she goes, "Oh, big whoop!" Like, who gives a fuck? Like, it was such a boss, man. It was enjoyable. In second place from the Child's Play Chucky franchise, the lovely Tiffany Valentine, the bride of fucking Chucky. Yo, this role was made for Jennifer Tilly. Like nobody else could have done this as effectively as her. And it's crazy because I see her as the doll. Perfect. Like I don't know if that's just good acting or like I said, the role was made for her, but like she is the doll and is you know herself or I don't know, but like from the moment she gave the doll the makeover in Bride of Chucky, like it made it more like her. I knew we were in for something different, like, and she's genuinely fucking psycho, like both the doll and the character, which you definitely want in like your home movie dolls in general, but she just has one of my favorite doll mentalities. She has had those moments, oh, we shouldn't kill anymore, let's stop, and then oh fuck it, let's just go ahead and kill, and constantly bringing up her mom, like, um and then really quick too, because there's like two things I actually want to bring up with the mom thing. But first, she has one of my favorite kills in the like franchise, and that's the pinhead kill. Like that was such a dope kill. And then again, yeah, like how she always brings up her mom. One of my favorite scenes is when she does it one more time, and Chucky is just like, "Geez, Tiff, I killed that bitch 20 years ago, and she still won't shut up." Like it was so classic Chucky and so classic, um, to their dynamic, like amazing. And now finally in first place, and I feel like everybody should fucking know this, but some people might not, right? None other than the motherfucking OG himself. Since we're on the franchise, Charles Lee Ray, aka Chucky. I'm such a fan of the Chucky series. Um, I think I can't think of his name right now. The writer, the creator of the series, but I think his writing is just so good. The films thread so effortlessly, and they have different along with the show too, and but even outside of that they have different feels from pure horror films to straight up horror comedy. It just it just works, and the story again, like I said, is consistent, and if anyone's seen the Chucky series, like the TV show, that shit is so good. Like, um and just like as a kid, obviously Chucky was so effective because the idea of your doll, this thing that you play with, turning on you and being a fucking killer is intriguing and terrifying, but I think for me, the thing that really stuck, like which really brought Chucky to life for me, was the voodoo thing. The fact that he needed to do voodoo, um or first off, he did it to get into the body, and then he needed to do it to get out of the body, and it was just always this kind of this voodoo quest in a sense for me. And honestly, I wish sometimes maybe that's the only thing, because again, I love the writing, but I wish they maybe played it to the voodoo a little bit more, and there was like maybe I don't know, a child's play film where he ends up having a battle with like a voodoo shaman somewhere in like New Orleans or something. I don't know. Maybe like probably not so on the fucking nose, right? But like something in that feel, because obviously voodoo exists in this universe. So the fact that we haven't come across someone using it against Chucky yet is, I won't say a missed opportunity because things are still happening, but it's interesting. So I think that's something I'm gonna pitch that. I'm gonna pitch that. Anyway, Chucky, again, it's just everything. The creepy but quirky voice, the look, the pure fucking insanity, and um unbridled amount of just, what's the word that I'm looking for? Disregard for fucking human life. Like he just doesn't. It's like fuck y'all. Like I don't care. It just works, man. And again, like I said, if you haven't seen the Chucky TV show, please, 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 if you're a Chucky fan, like of the films and you kept up with the story and everything, definitely check that out. It's so so good.
What do you want?
I want to hear you scream.
Okay, so let's get into this motherfucking Megan movie, y'all. I I think why it's was so effective for me is because I wanted to see it. I thought it would be a decent movie, but I didn't have high hopes. And it exceeded what I expected. So it just it worked, you know? It felt like for me, she was like a mixture of Chucky and Terminator. Like, that super intelligent AI killer robot thing, but also with that cutesy, oh look at me, wanna play? Like that thing of just being a doll. Because at the end of the day, Terminator was far from a fucking doll. So she has that doll feel, but again, total fucking AI and a goddamn nightmare. Um and again, the thing about it is obviously a killer doll or a doll coming to life or killer AI, whatever. All these elements are necessarily new, but what made it so good and effective in this film, I think, is because of how well they meshed. Um, it it played on those old themes while introducing elevated horror themes, right? Because at the heart of this movie, it's about, in a sense, the connection between a mother and a daughter. You know, or just not even just that, but just like being a caretaker for a child or being a parent, like that ultimately that connection. And without giving like too much away, Megan in a sense begins to see herself as a parent or a caregiver, or you know what I'm saying, because she's so connected to her child and or the child who toy she is, like, and it was different. Like I said, again, we've seen the killer doll and making the kid crazy. And then the other thing I like that they did too is that the kid, again, without giving away too much, was for the most part on the side of the doll. Like, there's always like, especially like just thinking back on Chucky, there's always the moment where the kid realizes and is like against the doll and telling everybody like, no, Chucky made me do it and all these things. It wasn't like that. There was no Megan did it, I swear, I promise. There was none of those moments where you're just hurt and you're pissed off like, damn, would somebody just believe this child? Because she was in fucking like she was looking at Megan like her mom anyway. It was like it was done in a way that I don't know, it was really smart. I think it was really smart. There was this one scene that one of the things that they did with Megan rather is like she powers on and off, and then so this one I'll say spoiler alert, but she powers on and off by voice command, basically from the person who is set as the main user, right? Um, but it was set up as um the person who bought it for her, she had her set up as the other user, basically. So essentially, they could both turn her off and on through voice command. And so there was a moment where the little girl's not trying to like listen to her, and so she's like, Megan, just talking to the doll, and the mom, quote unquote, for this, the caregiver. I say caregiver because I just don't want to give. Fuck it, I said spoiler alert. So her aunt, her aunt is just like, Megan, turn off. And the little girl's like, no, Megan, turn on. And like Megan's like, oh hi. And then like she goes back down, ooh, shutting down. Like, it's just like this fight. And it was like a very interesting scene. I really like that. There was another one where Megan, like, this little boy, and in the side note, I think this little boy in this movie was like a fucking pervert or something. Because like basically the little girl has to go to like this camp thing, and she takes Megan with her, and this little boy is like picking on the little girl. She's in the middle of the woods for whatever fucking reason, and he's like picking on her, and Megan comes up, And then he goes and grabs Megan and like runs with her and stuff. He like lays her down, and I'm just like, wait, what's going on here? Because like he, the reality is he was like, there was like in middle school or some shit. I think, like fifth or sixth grade, somewhere in that range. So kids are fucking gross, and like I don't know, man. Like he just like goes to like lay the doll down. Luckily, Megan kind of came to, and things happen after that. I won't talk about this scene further in that sense. But yeah, she chased him. This part is in the trailer, like a fucking dog, and that shit is crazy. Like it was like, whoa, because she's learning. So she learns from the things that she's exposed to. And there's a dog that lives next door to where she is. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Cause I was about to get into some other shit, and I'll fuck around to this whole movie for y'all. But no, yeah. Overall, though, I think Megan was a really good film. There's gonna be a sequel. The way that it ended, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think I read somewhere that there will be one, that it was greenlit for one. So definitely excited for that one. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. The first star is for watchability. Super watchable film. I enjoyed it. Like I said, we talked to the screen, me and my friends. And yes, we may have had a mimosa or two at the time and maybe a shot or two at the time, but it was still the kind of film that you would talk to the screen to. And I think those are some of the most watchable films, obviously. The second star is for story creativity. Again, the concept, while not new, the execution in a lot of ways was. They mixed classic horror concepts with elevated horror concepts, and it worked. It was really done in such a smart way that, like, as a writer myself, I admire. And then the last star is for killer fear factor, because here's the thing: we're getting closer and closer to AI. If well, like we have it, and they're just not like, I don't know how to explain it, but like that shit is creepy. It's scary as fuck, and one day AI could possibly take over, and that's just like a real, I mean, one day anything can happen. But thinking about that again, the way that and it's like I don't know how technical some of the science is in some of these films, but it seems fucking doable to me. So it's like if this film could figure it out, like you're not about to tell me our government hasn't. So it just creeped me out. Not Megan herself, but just the tech behind Megan. So yeah, that's my 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely check that one out. Thank you guys so much for listening. I want to say we are at about 470 listens currently. And that's across the board with this and Love Journal. So I'm so hyped. I'm 30 more listens in, and then I'll be at my second big mark goal, which was 500 listens. So I'm so excited for that one. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to follow the Instagram page for the pod, Man of Horror _podcast. Don't forget to like, rate, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, stay spooky, folks. Peace.